Hello, Josh Mason from the Detox Dudes here. I am going to show you how to make a super nutritious protein bar slash brownie. Not sure what it's classified as, but thanks to Peter Stocky, amazing guy, and also working on the Detox Dudes right now. He invented this, so props to him. This is really special because so many times during this detox process, when you're really strict with your diet, you can't find anything out in stores that you can just kind of eat on the go. Everything is loaded with sugar, even in health food stores. There's so much shit everywhere. So this is perfect for making it while at home, taking it on the go, staying to that sugar-free diet or close to sugar-free diet. And it's also extremely nutritious. All in all, you know, the fact that it has little to no sugar, and combined with the fact that it's actually extremely nutrient dense, will make it a better alternative to any protein bar. So we're gonna get right into it. I haven't really done any dosages because, you know, there is like a specific way to do it with specific dosages, but I make a different amount each time. I kind of just wing it. And I'll show you why that's possible, why it's easy to wing it. So first thing that we're going to do is just fill up a little glass saucepan here with some olive oil. We're going to be putting the mixture into that at the end. Alright, now I'm going to make some room here for you, show you what I got going on. Okay, so first we have, this is 2 tablespoons of Kerrygold grass-fed butter and 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. I like Dr. Bronner's coconut oil, but there's tons of good coconut oils out there, as long as it's not refined and it's cold pressed and it's organic. So we're going to put it into a big bowl here. I melted it down, of course. And so the inspiration behind these bars were that you know, everyone who's following the Detox Dudes has a lot of raw egg yolks. Obviously, healthy chickens, free-range organic chickens. These are from a local organic farm in Oregon, so they're really happy chickens. Now, the inspiration came because we were having so many egg yolks and basically throwing out all of the egg whites. So Peter decided to find something creative to do with it. And one of those things would be to make these bars. There's a couple other recipes as well. But anyway, we don't have to waste the egg whites anymore. So this is like at least 10 egg whites, and we don't have to use that much. This could even be closer to 12. I'm just going to use about half or 2/3 of this. They've been sitting in the freezer for a while. Just want to make sure they're still good. So yeah, so I used about maybe 6 egg whites there, but like I said, the actual amounts for each of these things is you could play around with it. Okay, next we're just going to fluff these eggs up a little bit. The spoon or a fork, just kind of get some oxygen in there. It makes the mixture more fluffy and makes the brownies slash bars more fluffy. If you're seeing that little black thing, that's just a little piece of an avocado. Not supposed to be in the recipe. So anyway, yeah, these are a little more oxygenated. And I actually forgot an ingredient. I'm going to go get it in a second. We'll keep the cameras rolling. No editing for the Detox Dudes. Alright, so this is cacao powder. This is like a pretty awesome cacao powder, but there's a bunch of other brands that are good. I like Raw Food World too. Anyway, I'm going to use about, that's a tablespoon and a half. That's a big heaping tablespoon. I got about 2 heaping tablespoons here of cacao powder, organic obviously. Okay. Some cayenne pepper, just a little bit. It's going to be a chocolate peppermint bars, and I also like a little chocolate mint and cayenne all together at the same time. It's a really powerful sensation. Some ginger. Can you see the screen here?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll put everything that I use over here. This is sweet leaf, sweet drops stevia. It's not the best, stevia in the world, but it's good enough, And these bars would taste awful without it. So I use a pretty hefty amount of stevia. I actually use that's 1 full dropper. I use between 3 and 4 full droppers when I make these bars, and of course I'm making a huge tray of them. So yeah, it's nice to have. It's not the absolute healthiest. There's a huge debate going on with whether stevia is healthy or not. Pure stevia leaf is good for you. I don't think there's a debate on that. But when when there's a slight processing that takes place, that's when the debate happens. And honestly, I've been using it for over a year with no problems, in high doses too. This is Garden of Life organic plant protein powder, grain-free. I use generally about 1.5 to 2 full scoops of this per batch of egg white bars. And this is a super important ingredient. I mean, it's also really sweet. It has stevia, but it kind of gives an awesome nutrition content for these bars. So that's about 2 full scoops. Alright, now you can use any nut butters, almond butter, cashew butter, walnut, pecan. I just have tahini, which is sesame seed butter, and I use pretty much all I got left here. It's just going to be a full heaping tablespoon. I might as well just use the rest of it here. I do about 3 drops of peppermint essential oil, and you can also get Herb Farm peppermint extract. So next, what I'm going to do, create more sustenance, more texture in these bars. Can you see over here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One more ingredient before we do that. This is just stevia powder, slightly less processed than the liquid, and just to get a little more kick in there, a little more sweetness, put some of that in. Other things you can use for sweetness is like monk fruit extract, which Raw Food World makes, and then also Dragon Herbs makes a sweet fruit drops, which is really good, which is also based on monk fruit. If you want to use like goji berries, you can, goji berry powder. I try and keep this in the realm of truffology, of the food combining that we've talked about, never really mixing heavy starches with proteins, and fruit. And fruit in this mixture would kind of be a little bit of a disaster because it's fats and proteins and oils, and then mixed with the fruit, it would just be a little bit of a digestive nightmare. I have done it before. My digestion now is strong enough to handle pretty much anything. But it's better to stick to the principles for at least 6 months or a year before you start wavering. So I brought these 2 out here just to be fillers. So if I didn't use the correct proportion and it's too liquidy, I have these 2 to add into the mix to make it more of the right substance. This is Garden of Life raw protein and greens, and this is Garden of Life fiber, prebiotic fiber. So there's a ton of different, any powders you have pretty much you can use as a filler if you don't get the proportions right the first time around. So what I do is I just play around with it as I'm going and say, oh, this needs more powder, this needs more liquid. You can, if you need more liquid, you get more coconut oil or more eggs. So now what I'm going to do is, these are pumpkin seeds. Just going to put some in the blender here. A little bit of chia seeds, And we got organic, soaked, 24 hours soaked in distilled water, almonds and walnuts. And then sun-dried after they're soaked. Just making a nice full blender of nuts here. Basically gonna make like a nut powder. I think it's time to get a better blender. Yeah, if you let them dry really good, you're not gonna have that problem with the Magic Bullet. It generally treats me just fine, but everything's a little damp, so it's getting stuck to the blades. But you can still have big chunks, you know, it's not a big deal. Okay, there's one more ingredient. Keep the camera rolling, I'll be back in 20 seconds. Alrighty, sea salt. Icelandic flaky sea salt. I put sea salt on almost everything. You can get really generous with it here. You know, almost a full tablespoon I use. I really love salt, especially with chocolate, salt, peppermint, and cayenne all combined. Woo! It's a burst of flavor. And right now, this is still virtually sugar-free. I mean, there may be a half a gram or a negligible amount of sugar in some of these protein powders. Yeah, like this one has 1.5 grams per serving. So, you know, virtually no sugar. Even though recently I've been able to tolerate sugar really well, which is such a nice treat to have some fresh grapefruit juice and stuff like that, which I've been sugar-free for almost 2 years. So it's pretty nice. And I get along better with my girlfriend now because she's a vegan and has tons of fruit. So it's saving my relationship. So you want to get a good mix here. The harder you mix, the better the more full this becomes in terms of texture. Ideally, it wouldn't really have any chunks like that. But because the nuts were a little wet, you know. So you just get a good mix going, good flow going, and it becomes like a batter. It literally becomes like a cake batter. And this is really thick, you know. You can make it this thick, you can make it a little thinner. I'm gonna make this a little thinner. Just put some more olive oil in there. A couple more eggs. Just to make it a little bit more friendly here. How's the battery on that bad boy? It's getting low? Mm-hmm. Alright, we'll finish up real soon. So this is just olive oil on a pan. And you know, normally I like to make these a little slower, take my time and be mindful. You know, this is part of the fun of being you know, involved so much with health, is being in the kitchen. So, you know, I'll make these a little slower when I'm not off camera, and I advise you to do the same. But, you know, this new Canon EOS M3, I'll tell you, it's got a pretty shitty battery life. So, looks like we're about ready to rock and roll. Get the cake going. You know, this is like a cake, brownie, protein bars, however you want to label it. It's a nice treat on the go. So we're going to get this bad boy here. Sugar-free, nutrient-dense, no bullshit fillers, additives like you're going to see in 99% of the protein bars in the stores, even at Whole Foods. I tell you, being on this diet I was on for the past few years, it was impossible to find something to grab and go. Every time I would grab and go something, you know, I would feel like shit. So, thanks to Peter Stocky. You can use a little smaller of one of these, whatever these things are called, these glass Tupperwares, or you can just not fill up the whole thing, right? End it right about there. But I'll just make these super thin. Fill up the whole thing, and you can keep playing with the doses if you want. If you want to make more, if you need more sustenance, if you need more cake, whatever you want to call it, you can use eggs, you can use coconut oil, just to make it more. So right now, we're going to go put it in the oven on 350 for 20 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. 350, 20 minutes, ready to rock and roll. They come out pretty much the same every time. Oh, as I said that, it's the first time I've ever seen those bubbles, probably because the solution was really thick. And I kept it in the oven for an extra couple minutes after the timer went off. But anyway, that's those are the bars. You know, it comes out like a big sheet of brownie. And what I like to do is, while they're hot, I just cut some slits in them. Want to get a little closer? Maybe zoom in, whatever. I basically just make little squares. Those bubbles are already going down, so not a big deal. But you want to make sure you get, when you cut them, that you cut them very good all the way to the bottom, which is going to set you up for nice, pretty, clean squares once they cool off. And a cool little trick, actually, you know, you put them in the fridge after they cool off, and at some point, what I like doing sometimes is, when they're cold in the fridge, I take them out, I put like a little tablespoon of butter on them and some coconut oil, and I throw them in the oven for 30-40 seconds just to let it melt. And you basically, it's like having like a cake, right? It really actually tastes like a cake too. So take them with you on the go, have them at home, just an awesome little treat. Detox Dudes protein brownie bar bites. How about that? And yeah, at some point soon I'm going to start making them, you know, in a larger scale, and I'll probably start selling them on my site. So don't forget to join the free Facebook group. That's where we have tons of other information about recipes and foods and all that. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos.